Coming up, Disney releases huge discounts for this summer. The D23 Ultimate Disney Fan Event releases details including new Disney legends being inducted. Disney officially opens Disney Adventure World in Paris. And we discuss the dilemma that Disney could be facing with the transportation at the Magic Kingdom in the future. Yes, a very heavy Disney-centered episode this week. It's time to cue the mats. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cue the Mats for a very, very Disney-centered episode this week. I mean, we really didn't even kind of think about that, but yeah, it's all about Disney this week.
Well, we knew it was going to be happening because last two episodes I've been hinting at a big transportation discussion and kind of a deep dive into the logistics going forward.
Yes, but also like all the news stories too are just Disney all this week.
What news stories? There's three.
What did I just put on there?
Three news stories.
Three news stories that are all Disney. Well, hello everyone. I am Matt Dobrovolsky, your host as usual, joined by my lovely, intelligent co-host Matt Rogers.
Slightly psychotic.
Slightly psychotic, yes. Hope you are all having a wonderful week this week. Yes, a very heavy Disney-centered episode this week because we've got a lot to discuss. I'm going to be talking a lot about D23 because I'm going to be buying my tickets for that tomorrow. And, I'm kind of nervous about all that tomorrow. I hope I get some decent tickets. I hope I don't have to pay over $1,000 a person to go to
Well,
the
speaking
Expo.
of money relating to our first news story.
Yes.
What is our first news item, Matt?
My goodness.
I can't read your chicken scratch.
I know. I'm sorry you can't read.
Well, I guess
handwriting.
it has to do with, I feel like every week we mention there's some kind of story that affects this, or that brings it to light, but the oncoming economic doom.
So, first off, this morning, Disney, in no April Fool's Day joke, decided to release a brand new ticket option for the summer of 2026. And honestly, I think this ticket option is long overdue for any theme park for that matter. Walt Disney World has released a after 2 p.m. ticket giving you access to one theme park each afternoon and evening at a reduced price. This ticket will cover all 4 Disney World theme parks. There is a 2-day or a 3-day ticket option, allowing you admission into one park each day starting at 2 p.m. no earlier. No reservations are required for these tickets, which is terrific. And they will be valid for start dates from May 26th through July 29th. Late May dates for those start dates will run you between $129 and $135 per day, where June dates will sit around $127 to $134 per day, and July 4th being the most expensive ranges at about $158 a day. That is just the 2-day ticket. Obviously, the more you play, the less you will pay per day. So the late May, you are running $125 to $132 a day. July 4th being the most expensive again, coming in around $154 per day. Comparing this to actual full-day tickets, so mind you, a full-day ticket would be able to get you into the park around 9 a.m. You're saving about $50 to $60 a day, depending
It's
on
about
what park you're going.
25%.
So, somewhere around there, yeah.
The interesting thing about this is, while yes, it kind of makes sense to do this, they wouldn't do this unless they needed to do this or they anticipated needing to do this. So I think this is another indicator that Disney is preparing themselves for a heavy recession.
Right. I think
because they're trying to scrape to get people into the
combination.
park.
That is like 50% of what's going on here. I think the other 50% is either just tourism is down, or Disney really doesn't have enough to offer for this summer. I think I told you about this when we talked about the announcement with this. It's going to be interesting to see if Universal does anything to try and combat this. Because if Universal does that, 100%, yes, we're looking at an issue with tourism, which could lead to an issue with the economy.
So what I anticipate happening is we know jet fuel, the price of jet fuel has skyrocketed, which has caused airlines already to cancel a bunch of flights. And then if you look at the airline ticket prices, they're starting to shoot up.
Right.
And then the price of gas is also shooting up. So this is really going to affect tourism and people's ability to come here. So you also have another group of locals that can't necessarily afford annual passes to some of these parks. So I think this is kind of an effort to get those people who can't find either way to get here to get them into the park.
Right.
As far as Universal doing this, at the moment, the difference between Disney and Universal is I think Universal relies a little bit more on a local following. Right. They have more affordable annual passes. They have better value.
But I'm talking about Epic Universe, because this is what we talked about last week. They were starting to survey about Epic Universe annual passes. Is that an indicator that they're worried about the tourism going to Epic Universe, and there's not that much of a demand for that park that they could bring in the annual passes
I think
again?
Both
in which case, we're looking at some form of a tourism.
I think both are preparing for a big recession this summer.
Yeah. In addition to the tickets, we also have new hotel rates that just came out. Disney Plus subscribers will be able to get special rates on Disney hotels this summer. The offer will go on sale April 2nd, tomorrow, covering most nights from June 21st through August 15th with a minimum of a 2-night stay. Some of the rates here as low as $99 a night for the All-Star Sports, $169 a night for Port Orleans, and that also includes the fifth person too, because this says it's for a standard view room with the fifth sleeper, so the 2 beds and the pull-out bed too. $249 a night for a Cars Family Suite at Art of Animation, $279 a night for a deluxe studio at Saratoga Springs. That's a big discount right there, in my opinion. For a studio at Saratoga, $279 a night. That's a good deal.
Again, this is just
and then
indicators out the window, like that Disney is very prepared,
right,
for a heavy recession.
And here's
if they're offering deals like this.
And here's the even bigger one that we already talked about: $369 a night for a Savannah view at Animal Kingdom Lodge. $369 a night. They're worried. They are very worried this summer.
I'm worried.
Yeah,
I'm really worried.
And now keep in mind too that they also still have the 4-day 4-park magic ticket for $109 per day plus tax, so $436 total plus tax. It gets you access to all 4 parks over 4 days from May 26th through September 26th with a 7-day usage window from your selected start date. There are more discounts on rooms, even if you're not a Disney Plus subscriber, all the way up to 35% off for Florida residents, 40% off if you're annual pass holders. So very, very, very big discounts here.
Everybody stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, because this is going to be an interesting couple of weeks for the theme park industry, at least down here in Florida. Again, my personal opinion, if we see Universal do something, then that truly means that we're looking at a tourism economic, and I don't really want to use the word crisis, but an issue. Okay? If Disney's just doing this and Universal doesn't really do anything, I think that's Disney saying, wow, we really need to pull people in because we've still got people coming to Florida, but they're not coming here. All right, anyway, moving on to our next news story, which will be the bane of my existence tomorrow. D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event, better known as the D23 Expo, tickets will be going on sale tomorrow. And, if there is, any indicator about an economic recession, these ticket prices should probably blow your mind because I don't think you've seen them yet. First off, they're coming out with a new afternoon-only pass. The Expo is open from 9 to 8, I think, this year. But an afternoon pass can get you in at 4 p.m. and it's $49 a day.
Whoa.
Yes. That's kind of interesting. I'm curious to see if anyone's actually going to buy that.
That is nuts.
If you're just going to
crazy.
The convention, it is $99 a day. It is $297 if you are going to go for all 3 days. And when you add in the Honda Center where the big presentations will be, that means the studio's presentation, the parks experiences panel, and the Disney Legends ceremony, that will add depending on where you want to sit. So the Honda Center is obviously where the Anaheim Ducks play. So picture, a big arena, okay? All the way up in those nosebleeds back there will run you $297 per person for the 3 days there. Actually, I'm sorry, that's $297 if you want to be all the way off onto the side and kind of have a poor view of the stage.
Okay, but what are they going to announce?
I think they're going to announce a few things, but big updates.
They've announced things so far out. What could they possibly have to announce?
We'll see. We just gotta wait and see.
Are they going to announce what's going to open in 10 years?
Probably.
My God. Build some things first.
But wait until you hear these prices. The 400 section up there, they will be anywhere from $327 to $477, depending on where you want to sit. And mind you, again, this is for all 3 days if you want an all 3-day pass like myself. The Section 200s, the main level of the Honda Center, $957 per person. Again, that gets you 3 days in the Honda Center, $957.
Good Lord.
Yes. Good Lord indeed. Considering it was $747 2 years ago for those same seats. But wait. Do you want floor seating, Matthew?
How much?
If you want to be front row for those big presentations in the Honda Center, that will set you back $2,599 per person. Let that sink in for a second. And then if you want to be all the way in the back of the floor, still be on the floor and everything, $1,299.
That's too much money. That's too much money.
That is why I am sticking to my 400 section for tomorrow, and that's where I want to sit, period. Oh, but remember those floor seats? That does include an opportunity to purchase pins ahead of time.
It's not for me.
Yeah. I think you would enjoy it, but it's just we don't pay for the floor. Anyone that actually pays for the floor must be absolutely desperate to go to this because every other seat is full.
The only
you
D23,
just want to be in this room.
only D23 that has interested me is the one where they had the Cars ride vehicle out in the middle of the floor. When they were building Cars Land.
Oh god, yeah. So that was before my time.
That was the
I started going
one.
in 2013 when Cars was already open.
But that's because I'm a nerd and I like to look at things.
Yeah. But the big announcement that we have gotten so far with D23 is they have announced their honorees for the Disney Legends ceremony that will be taking place on August 16th.
Who
indeed? Chris Berman from ESPN.
Who?
Exactly. Jerry Bruckheimer, the producer of the Pirates films.
Who?
You don't know who Jerry Bruckheimer is?
He's the producer of the Pirates films.
Yes.
I haven't even watched all of them, so...
Really?
Really?
Okay, we need to rectify that.
Rectify.
An amazing woman that I have always talked about and I have met several times and that surprised Megan for our wedding day, Miss Susan Egan, the voice of Megara in Hercules and the original Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. Very famous animator Eric Goldberg. Anne Hathaway. Kim Irvine, very famous Imagineer.
Know who she is.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Look, Moana. I get it. He's done a couple of other films, but really? Was there nobody else that we could have thought of? Because here's the other one that really doesn't get me. The Jonas Brothers. I get it. They had a contract with Disney. Did I ever tell you my Jonas Brothers story?
Maybe.
So...
I'm going to hear it now, though.
Yeah, you will. Mind you, this was like 7th or 8th grade when I was in middle school. The school called us into the auditorium for an assembly. Remember DARE?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been defunded and gone for a long time. But
yeah,
yes.
Exactly. I mean, it just goes to show you my age there. They pulled us into an assembly for DARE, and they said, we're going to have a little concert for you guys with this up-and-coming musical group. They're really not a thing yet, but they hope to be one day. And it was the Jonas Brothers because they're from New Jersey. I was in New Jersey.
Oh, was your school the inspiration for the South Park episode with the Jonas Brothers?
Maybe.
Where they showed up and they were like, yeah, purity rings.
I'm going to be completely honest. I remember them being on the stage, and that's it. I cannot tell you what happened at that concert. I just remember them being on that stage, and that was it. And then it was about a year later, then they signed their contract with Disney, and then I think it was about 2-ish years later when they did Camp Rock. So,
cool.
Yeah. Ooh.
Cool.
3 more people. Lin-Manuel Miranda. No shock there.
Okay.
Alan Tudyk.
Who?
The voice of K2SO in Rogue One. The voice of the Duke of Weaselton from Frozen. And most notably, he voices a chicken. Hey, in Moana.
Ah, yes, of course. Yes. Hey. What a wonderful Oscar-worthy performance.
I love the little bit that he did. He was talking about doing Hey, and he's like, yes, and I went to Juilliard, and I'm voicing a chicken. And obviously, no surprise, Bob Iger. The Bob Iger one is an interesting...
It's like the president giving himself an award.
Correct. Does he deserve it? Yes. He 100% deserves it. I am not backing out on that decision. I think it's way too soon because he is still technically working as a senior advisor. Okay?
Is Eisner a legend yet?
No. And that's
Why
what
not?
I wanted to... So I want to talk about that really quick.
He saved the company.
Social media...
Wait, is Frank Wells a legend?
Frank Wells is a legend.
Okay, yes. Eisner needs to be a legend.
Frank Wells was a legend because of Eisner.
Yes, but both of them saved the company.
Here's the thing. Social media is in an uproar about this.
About Eisner? Or
about Eisner. About the fact that Iger is getting it before Eisner. Okay? Here's the rumbling that I've heard. I can neither confirm nor deny this, okay? There is a rumor that they have approached Eisner about receiving a Disney Legend Award. And Eisner has turned it down. I believe he has turned it down for one reason. Ego. He doesn't have that big of an ego to take on that award.
So if he gets it, it would be after he dies.
Probably. unless he puts in his will or something like that saying, don't honor me with a Disney Legend Award.
Keep me out of that dang courtyard.
Right. Well, yeah, you've been to the courtyard.
Keep me out of that dang courtyard.
Again, I do not know if this is true or not. I don't like really speculating on rumors like this on the podcast, but I think this is very important to put it out there. Because
I don't think there should be a tradition of having CEOs be legends.
Unless they've really truly made a mark to the company.
In which Eisner and Wells did.
That is what the Legend Award is. It is showing a true mark to the company and thanking you for everything that you've devoted to this company.
And I think Iger, I could see him getting an award. I think it's a little too quick.
Exactly. He just, again, he deserves it. I am not here to try and say
but maybe
that Bob
wait a year
Iger
or
does
two.
not deserve this Legend Award. But there is something about him getting this. Being announced at getting this, too. Literally days after he stepped down as CEO.
Too close.
Very too close. Very too close. But hopefully tomorrow I will secure my tickets and I will be there to report back on everything.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun time. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 7th D23 Expo. And again, if it's anything like it was 2 years ago, I hope that's what they do, because they did a phenomenal job 2 years ago operationally, logistically, and I hope they continue that this time around. But we'll wait and see, because I still don't have tickets yet, and yet I have airfare, hotel, and rental cars already booked, so hopefully I get to go.
What's next?
Well, the Walt Disney Studios Park in Disneyland Paris has officially been renamed and officially rededicated as Disney Adventure World.
Let's go.
Along with the opening of World of Frozen, which includes Frozen Ever After, the same ride that we have in Epcot.
No.
I know what you're saying. It's not the same because they've improved the ride capacity for it.
It's a from-scratch, purpose-built ride system.
Right.
It's still a boat ride. It's basically the ride at Epcot, but there's a lot of little quality of life.
This is what happens when we actually build it from the ground up instead of repurposing an attraction.
Now, it has the really nice animatronics where it's not the projection faces, the ones that we just got upgraded to, which I think is fantastic that Disney World actually got something cool for once.
You still haven't been on the updated one, right?
No.
You really should. It's honestly, it is worth a 45-minute wait now.
We'll check it out. I want to go soon, but but it's in its own themed world now. It's not like in a Norway Pavilion. It's in its own themed world.
Correct.
And there's a lot of live entertainment there too. And one of the really cool things they have is a free walking Olaf animatronic.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It's really cool
when it works.
I've only seen one video of it failing.
That you know of.
Yes, well, I'm not searching in YouTube French.
But at the same time that you know of, because what if a lot of this stuff has been happening behind the scenes?
But still,
that we don't know about.
When it's out there, it's really, really cool.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think we talked about it many episodes ago. Defunct Land on YouTube. Great channel if you haven't subscribed to Kevin Percher there. He talks about Disney's approach with animatronics and talks very, very highly of these free-roaming animatronics when they work and when Disney puts budget and everything into them. It's very evident over the last 20 years, because, I mean, gosh, all this free-roaming animatronics started 20 years ago with Lucky the Dinosaur, if you
I
remember.
remember that.
Lucky the Dinosaur. Then we got the Muppet Mobile Lab. Goodness, why am I blanking on others?
There's just been a few others
There's been a few, but they never truly last. They're there for like a few months or something like that, maybe a year or two, and then they disappear forever. It lends me to believe that either Disney just doesn't want to maintain them, or they just give up on them.
I don't think it's that, to be honest with you. I think there's been a lot of development work with those things, and it's with purpose, right? So like Lucky the Dinosaur, was it the most realistic thing? No. So as you develop more technology, you don't want to keep it around. It's like,
I disagree.
Okay,
I think it was very realistic.
I think it was
other
built,
than its motion.
I think it was built as a proof of concept. Yeah. And I think Muppet Mobile Labs was
Tongue twister right there.
I think that was definitely a proof of concept as well, with the Segway and the gyro technology. It had a balance, so I can understand why that isn't around anymore. But
what's interesting though with Lucky, I remember. Look, the dinosaur obviously didn't move properly like you would expect him to. But what Imagineering did that blew everyone's mind was that when you could go up and take a picture with Lucky, you could actually pet Lucky. So this was the first time that anyone, guest-wise, was able to feel an animatronic. So you could feel that Imagineering truly put the right
Yeah, but now if you had it in the same
it.
timeline that you have Toothless at Epic Universe,
correct,
it's very outdated, right? So evolution is these things can't last forever, so I understand that. I think something like Olaf, right? They put a lot of technology into that, and all those other free-roaming animatronics have gone into something like Olaf.
Right.
So I think Olaf will be around for a little while.
Unless he keeps failing like the viral video.
And I think they would build another one because it's so important to the atmosphere and what they're going for in this
One
version.
thing that I do appreciate with Josh D'Amaro is that it does seem that he understands the need and is hell-bent on making these things work with these animatronics. Because with the Olaf animatronic, with the droid animatronics that walk around Galaxy's Edge, Josh is very adamant on these animatronics because it is breathing real life into these environments.
I mean, and look at what Epic's doing, right? They have Toothless, okay? But then they have...
But he's also behind a 2-hour
Right, but they also
time.
have unannounced animated characters that are free-roaming walking around.
True.
They don't announce their times, but they...
Well, look at the last time we were in
but
the
they
Isle
have,
of Berk together.
Hold on, they have Dart, they have the drones.
Right, the drones,
But they have these figures that they're working on developmentally that they're not announcing, and when they're out, it's great, but you don't expect them to be out.
Because it breathes life into the land.
So I think...
Which is something that Galaxy's Edge lacks.
But what I'm saying is I think that's the future.
Yes.
Right? So I think Disney is going to commit a little bit more. I don't think these things are just going to go away real quick.
Right. I hope not. I really hope not because, like we said, it does breathe life into these lands.
I mean, look at what Cars Land does. Even something as simple as Cars Land, they bring the car characters out into the land for photo ops.
Right.
And they're slightly animated. They're not interactive, but they're slightly animating.
They're the same
eyes.
Ones that were in Hollywood studios.
But they're still there. They're still there because they add to the land. So I think it's a really good thing. I love what they've done trying to rebrand this park.
Mm-hmm. And it's not done.
Disney Studios in Paris. No, and they're going to have... They're still working on a couple little rides, and then they got the Lion King opening.
They also just opened the Rapunzel little spinner ride, which, I mean, look, it's a seat ticket ride. Okay?
Yeah, they're just adding a few little rides.
But that's what we need to be doing.
And do you really think the Cars road trip is going to last forever over there?
God, I hope not.
No, it's not.
That thing... Y'all, if you haven't seen what the Cars road trip attraction looks like at Disney Adventure World, pause this podcast recording right now and go onto YouTube, or if you're already listening on YouTube, literally just
It's a
pause
pretty
it
good
and go
acid
onto
trip.
They literally took the backlot tour that basically used to be at Hollywood Studios.
They neutered it.
Neutered it significantly, because it's not a backlot tour
Threw
anymore,
a few billboards up.
and take you over to Catastrophe Canyon for whatever this is. I've literally
Just go watch it. Just go watch it.
I've literally said in my mind, I will not ever, in my mind, when I go to this park one day, I will never ride that ride.
Oh, I have to ride it because I need to see how bad it is.
I know.
Actually, I just hope it's gone by the time I get over there.
I hope so too. Yeah, I really hope so. Because that is prime real estate for something big.
Oh, it is. And once they build Lion King and they build like one more thing around the lake, they'll probably start filling in that space and use that.
I'm very excited for the Lion King ride. I think the Lion King, this is basically Splash Mountain / Tiana's.
This is
but
something,
it's Lion King.
And Lion King is a ride that's needed to be in the parks for about 20 years now.
Oh yeah,
30 years.
30 years. Yeah. Because
it's going to be neat.
We have Festival of the Lion King at Disney's Animal Kingdom. We had the Lion King show that was at Disneyland. We also had, rest in peace to the very first thing that I ever experienced in a Disney park, Legend of the Lion King, which was in the Fantasyland Theater, where Mickey's PhilharMagic is now, which utilized puppetry, kind of like what Voyage of the Little Mermaid was. But never a ride until now.
This is really exciting.
It's very, very exciting. I'm very interested to see where Adventure World goes. Because, do we have a timeline for Lion King? I think 28?
It opens
probably.
when it opens.
Yeah, we'll probably hear more.
But it'll be exciting to see
D23.
if this park is a proof of concept, and maybe they can do some rebranding to California Adventure and Hollywood Studios.
Right.
To make those park concepts work a little bit more.
Right. Instead of saying California Adventure, and then you have all these different IPs that really don't radiate out to the concept of California, or let alone Hollywood Studios that, has the name Studios in its name, but hasn't been a working studio in about 25 years.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. So, moving on to our big discussion topic of the week. We, have been alluding to it for the last couple of episodes, but we are going to be discussing the dilemma that Disney faces right now in the future with transportation, specifically at the Magic Kingdom. We have talked about it that when Cars, Piston Peak, and Villains open towards the end of the decade, we are going to be seeing a huge, huge increase of visitors to the Magic Kingdom. Can the monorail, the ferry boat, and the buses handle this traffic?
Well, I think it's only fair to start off the discussion as to why do these methods of transportation exist and why is Magic Kingdom set up the way it is in the first place. It all begins when with Walt Disney, right? So Walt has always loved different transportation things, especially trains. He was a train nut. And a lot of the reason he built Disneyland was specifically so he could have a life-size railroad to play with. Like, that, right? And it's just crazy to think about that. And the Mark Twain riverboat in Disneyland, when Disneyland opened, that was actually Walt's boat. It came out of Walt's personal account.
Correct.
That was his big toy in the park that he let people ride. And the trains were as well. So Walt was always fascinated by transportation. And so a little bit before the time he was at Disneyland or somewhere around there, he took a trip to Germany and he saw this transportation thing whiz by on a single rail. It was a very early version of the monorail. And so he went to them, he talked to them, and then he built one in Disneyland. Because there hadn't really been one in America before, I don't think. But he wanted to show off this fascinating new thing that people haven't seen before.
Because remember, too, the Disneyland monorail, as you saw when you went there, is not truly a form of transportation to get you from point A to point B.
When it
back
opened,
in the day,
when it opened, it wasn't. It was just around the park.
Right, it was just around the park. That was it.
Right.
But when the Disneyland Resort expanded in the early 2000s with the addition of California Adventure, Downtown Disney, and the other hotels, that's when they made it a form of transportation. Because
before that,
well,
the Disneyland, the Downtown Disney station existed for about as long as the Disneyland Hotel did.
Correct. Yeah, because they did add. I don't remember exactly when they added that.
I believe 59 is when they added the monorail.
Well, yeah, 59 was when they added the monorail.
In 61, I think they added the station for Disneyland Hotel.
That early? Okay.
Yeah, it was very early. Because before they had a tram to take you from Disneyland Hotel to Disneyland.
But now it is more of a good form of transportation because, back then it was just to get you over to the Disneyland Hotel if you needed to, unless you just wanted to keep riding it around.
Now it just gets you to the other end of Downtown Disney.
Right. Now it gets you to the other end of Downtown Disney. It gets you to the Disneyland Hotel. Technically, it also gets you to Grand California if you wanted to.
But when the Walt Disney Company decided to build the Magic Kingdom Resort area in Florida, they wanted to take full advantage of these methods of transportation. Okay? So they built a man-made lake called Seven Seas Lagoon off of Bay Lake. Mm-hmm. And Magic Kingdom was at the far end, the parking lot was at the other end, and they built a monorail system around this lake with a few hotels. And that was the method of transportation they wanted to use. They wanted to take you someplace away to the Magic Kingdom, away from reality. So they used the monorail as transportation. They also used the ferry boats as well.
They also utilized the Contemporary Resort as a cool touristy thing because the monorail went right through.
It was a big draw.
The Contemporary.
And then
it got people to stay there as well.
And then, brain fart. Where are we at? But they utilized this transportation system around there. So that's kind of how the monorail ended up at Disney World. Now,
and then in '82, when Epcot opened,
they
decided
added
to
the Epcot
extend
branch.
the line. Yeah.
They added the Epcot loop, which took you down there. So, in regards to Magic Kingdom, unlike Disneyland, where at the end of the day you can just walk out to your car, or you could take the tram to your car.
Back in the day, yes.
Or you could take your tram to the car, right? You can.
Back in the day, unlike now, it's.
But at Disneyland,
half a mile away.
Even at Disneyland, you can walk out of the park, hop on a tram, go over to the garage. You're done. 1 step, 2 steps, right? It's a 2-step process. Disney World has an extra process of getting across the Seven Seas Lagoon. Right. Then you get on a tram to your car. Now at Disneyland, you always have the option to walk as well. At Magic Kingdom, it wasn't until recently you had the option to walk, right. And it's long walk still.
When they decided to add the walkway from the Magic Kingdom to the Grand Floridian, and look, I've done this walk a couple of times in the past. It's getting to be too much when it's 85 degrees and 100% humidity outside.
At the end of a long day.
At the end of a long day, or at the beginning of a potentially long day, too.
Yeah. So you got to think, when Magic Kingdom closes and you have 100,000 people in the park, because Magic Kingdom can fit 100,000 people in peak days.
The big thing that we're talking about here.
It's this enormous pressure on the monorails and the ferry boats.
Right. And just now, like, you can go to the Magic Kingdom today, and you can leave at the end of fireworks and see how bad this truly is. You see all the posts on social media showing the mobs of people trying to get on either the monorail or the ferry boat to get you back to the Ticket and Transportation Center, which, if you've parked your car at the Ticket and Transportation Center, that is your only option. Very rarely do they run buses to and from the Ticket and Transportation Center and the Magic Kingdom, by my understanding. That may be different.
They
nowadays.
Actually do it every night. They just don't advertise it at all.
Which is interesting, but I guess it's because they don't want...
The bus, if everyone went to the buses, they would not be able to handle the pressure.
Because I don't think they have, like, a dozen buses running back and forth, they probably only have like 2 or 3.
So the logistical problem, though, that we're facing isn't just a numbers problem when the park dumps at the end of the night. It's an accessibility problem. So the monorails were built late 60s, early 70s, right? This predates the Americans with Disabilities Act. Wheelchair accessibility, before that was even a thought. Now, it was sort of a thought, but the current ramps to the monorail stations, they're too steep to meet the ADA guidelines. And they don't have the landings and the brakes in them either.
Right. And that's why you see when a wheelchair or scooter boards the monorail, they'll always have to bring out the ramps to...
Right, and then the monorails don't have that zero entry either. So going forward, we have to look at the needs of the guests now. Now compared to the 70s, we have a lot more guests that are coming to the parks with accessibility needs and mobility devices, walkers, wheelchairs, etc.
But here's the thing. Can we fix this problem with the zero entry?
Yes, you can fix anything with enough money.
Well, yeah. I mean...
So we've seen a couple...
What do you think we need to do more? Do we need to somehow increase the height of the platform so in this way it is leveled with the monorail? Can that even be achieved? Or do we need to somehow figure out a way to lower the monorail as it comes in?
So lowering the monorail with the current track configuration is not possible.
Right.
To a zero
I didn't think it's...
It is... The top of the beam is level with the platform. You could raise the platform, but you need to demolish the ramps up to the platform and start over.
That would probably be the more costly approach.
And you need to do that with every station.
Yeah.
And then the question is, structurally, can the stations handle it? Right? Can
you be shutting down the monorails?
Well, no. Can the station structurally handle having a thicker platform?
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, you're talking about something that was built over 50 years ago.
Yes. So it just kind of stacks on top of itself, right? Now we've seen over the past few years improvements to the monorails and their efficiency. We've seen loading gates go to air gates instead of the sliding gates.
Correct.
On the express beam in particular.
Well, express and... Well, yeah, you're right. The resort still has the
Magic Kingdom station on both Express and Resort has the air gates,
and
we've also
Epcot
seen
still has the gates too.
We've also seen them automate the system. Now, some of that was in response to some safety issues after an incident in 2009, 2010, but a lot of that automation was also for efficiency. They can have trains moving closer together now.
Correct.
And it's... Given all those improvements, though, the system is still very evident that it's bursting at the seams and
Did you
how it can
also
perform.
see the quote-unquote efficiency... Words are hard. Efficiency change that they just did with the monorail.
What is that?
And that's particularly with the Express monorail. So you know how the Express would always go in a counterclockwise position from Ticket and Transportation Center,
right,
heading to the Magic Kingdom.
They changed directions during the day.
Correct. I was actually there a couple of weeks ago, right around the time when they made the switch. So
does this have to do with switching trains in the middle of the day?
I think so. I think it is also a means of getting people to their destination in a more timely manner. Getting from the Ticket and Transportation Center to the Magic Kingdom in a counterclockwise position from the going around the lagoon. That is a better approach in the morning because we need to get people over to the park quicker. Okay? Whereas reversing that at the end of the night, that is getting people back to the Ticket and Transportation Center much quicker, and it can also have enough monorails basically in position to be able to go right into the station, so you shouldn't have to be waiting that long for a monorail.
So what I think a lot of this is during the day, they reduce the number of trains in service. Okay? Because when you're not at peak times, it's a great opportunity to send a few trains back to get some preventative maintenance.
Oh, absolutely.
So, the storage spur that goes behind Magic Kingdom to the monorail roundhouse is off of the express beam right over the bus loop. Okay? If they were running the loop in a clockwise direction all the time, when they would add a train,
they would have to back it in.
The monorail comes out, has to stop, beam switches, then they switch directions, then they go.
Right.
But if during the time that they were going to add trains, the loop was actually going counterclockwise, they wouldn't have to stop and reverse. They could just go to the Magic Kingdom station. It's a little more efficient. Correct. I wonder if that has to do with weather.
I think it was kind of like a 50-50 kind of scenario here.
That being said, there's only 12 trains. Usually there's only 10 or 11 in operation on the entire system. That's not a lot.
Right. And again, the point of this discussion is at the end of the decade, we are easily looking at most 10,000 more people potentially going to the park.
Well, it's not even just that. You're looking at more strain on the system with trains pushing 35 years old.
Correct.
These trains are pushing 35 years old. And they just did a update to the trains to get them through another 10 years, it seems.
Correct.
But you got to understand, these monorail trains are a combination of technology from every decade since World War II.
What we're also seeing with this,
they're Frankenstein trains
too, is that the other option from the monorails, which is the most efficient way of transportation to and from the Magic Kingdom with the Ticket and Transportation Center, is the ferry boat. And the ferry boat is probably almost about twice the amount of time.
They're getting a fourth one, though. But real quick, finishing up on the monorails real quick. So we've addressed what they need to do to the stations to become ADA compliant. They need to go zero entry to the trains, which means you need new trains as well because the doors are in the way of the platform,
yes.
right? But also, if you do this to the trains and the stations, right? Now you have, whenever you do this, you have a 60-year-old beam monorail track.
Mm-hmm.
What's the structural integrity of that like?
Right.
So do you need to replace that too?
Also, too,
So you might as well just replace the entire system.
Right.
With something else.
But the efficiency of this, is this going to be enough? If we talk about this idea that, they go forward and they fix up the ADA requirements that they don't have to keep bringing out the ramps and
they don't have a way to do it by the time Villains opens.
Correct.
I truly think, just looking at what needs to happen with the track structure, what needs to happen with the stations, and what needs to happen with the trains,
that's not enough time.
I think in 10 years we're looking at the monorail closing.
Yeah.
And getting replaced with the new transportation system.
And
I don't see it lasting longer.
And let me ask you this. What transportation system do we see being as efficient as the monorail and not necessarily replacing it yet, but helping with the demand? If you pulled up to the Ticket and Transportation Center, you went through security, you could have the option of, let's go to the Magic Kingdom either on the ferry boat, the monorail, or Plan C here, okay? The buses aren't going to cut it. What's the other option? What could we do?
Well, for Villains, in time for Villains, the other thing I could see, maybe, because they've done this before, and this is why the tram tractors, the original ones, were so big. They used to run trams from TTC over to Magic Kingdom in the first decade the park was open.
Really?
The tram tractors, the original ones, were that big because they would have to pull a fully loaded tram out from under the water bridge. from a dead stop. That was the requirement.
But could that get people over to the park quickly? Because I've seen
It's
these
option
things
C.
taking them.
I don't think they'd ever run it on a road like that again. But
Okay, so that's what you're saying. You want to know what I'm thinking?
Skyliner?
Yeah.
I'd say it's possible, but
It's
where?
possible, but good Lord, I don't know if that could go across the Seven Seas Lagoon. It would have to have so
Yeah, it
many
could.
turnarounds to go
It can go
around
up
the
and over.
lagoon.
Up and over. The question is, where do you put a station over there at Magic Kingdom?
Correct. That's the other. Now, unless you could, now that you have that walkway between the Grand Floridian and Magic Kingdom, what if you could do it over there? But God, that's going to be an ugly sight
So,
over the lagoon.
but the other issue is,
seeing the Skyliner going across.
and this is kind of going all over the place, but say you need to replace the monorail system at some point, right? You need to have another method of transportation ready that can handle that capacity.
Exactly.
You can't just close it and replace it, or you have to build its replacement at the same time.
Right.
Now, what makes sense that's most similar to a monorail to me is an automated people mover like you see at the airports.
Yeah. I could see that.
But the thing is, do you
But
build
where-
it side by side of the current route? Which means you'd have to build new stations and new station structures anyways.
Right.
And
how would this look going through the hotels and everything like that? Like,
I think if
especially
they
like
do
contemporary for that
an
matter.
automated people mover, I don't think it's going to go through the hotel.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so design-wise, this thing's just going to go right up against the contemporary like that and
Yep.
destroy that sightline?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many other options when you really think about it. I mean, the other option is to do what they've been doing, is just keep kicking a can down the road and get this monorail to hobble along as far as it can go.
Right. But, we could foresee in the next decade the monorail needing some serious adjustments.
It needs to be replaced.
Yeah,
the entire system.
Bob Gurr has even said that.
Track stations,
remember.
trains need to be replaced.
Bob Gurr said, yeah, it should have been replaced about 20 years ago. But the company that built them went out of business.
And it's such, when I say it's a nightmare, I hope you can understand now. It is a logistical nightmare trying to get this done. Yeah. Because it's like, great, you're adding things to Magic Kingdom, but you're just putting more strain on this transportation problem.
Exactly, because that's the point of this. 10,000 more people potentially in the parks. And I'll tell you this. The only operational thing that I could think of that they could kind of help along with this is either opening the park earlier, but also, too, more importantly, keeping it open always 2 hours after fireworks. Because that's one of the big things that they've done operationally.
But then you're going to run into maintenance windows on attractions.
Exactly, which is something that we talked about a couple episodes ago. You could have Magic Kingdom always open 8 to 11, but now you're running into a crunch time with preventative maintenance being done during third shift. One of the things that they've done at the Magic Kingdom lately is they always try and keep the park open at least an hour after the fireworks end. So if the fireworks are at 9 o'clock, they will try and keep the park open until 10, because what they're basically trying to tell people is, hey, don't leave just yet. There are still rides open and they're going to have short waits. I even remember, like, back in the day, they used to have an announcement after the fireworks saying just that, trying to encourage people that, hey, the park is still open, so instead of waiting on the ungodly long lines for the monorail or the ferry boat, stay in the park and then leave to help alleviate the stress on the monorail and the ferry boats. But, I mean, every night it's still bad. It's still bad regardless, to the point where, we as locals, when we go, if we stay for the fireworks...
We're staying until the last second we can.
Exactly, because I don't want to deal with the headache of that. I've said one of the things that if you're staying at a Disney hotel, one of the only reasons I would ever tell you to book a minivan is if you are trying to leave the park after the fireworks, because you do not have to wait in the ungodly long lines. You have your own private mode of transportation back to your Disney hotel.
Now, I will say also, buses are not a solution to this, because anyone who's waited on buses knows that while the buses are very accessible, they take a very long time to load and unload wheelchairs and ECVs.
Exactly.
Which kills any efficiency gain you might have.
You know, I mean, could we also see them trying to push for wheelchairs and ECVs more going to the ferry boat?
Maybe.
Especially, you know, it's just, hey, you got a wheelchair or scooter, it's probably going to take you a little bit while longer to hop on a bus or a monorail. Why not come over here to the ferry boat? What if they could have a separate line for them, too, to help get them on much quicker? That could be an option as well.
It's just, it's a very interesting dilemma that I'm not quite sure how they're going to solve it, but they eventually do have to address this monorail problem.
Right.
So.
And we always applaud Disney for the fact that there is someone out there that is thinking of this right now.
Maybe.
I hope so at least. But I think there's someone out there
is there somebody out there in a position to be able to do something about it that's thinking about it?
Josh D'Amaro.
Is he actually thinking about this?
Honestly, the way this man thinks, I guarantee you it's probably crossed his mind.
Because I do understand that they are getting a fourth ferry.
Right, but is that enough? No.
It helps.
I don't know. I mean, I don't use the ferry boat enough to... I've always been under the impression with the ferry boat that that's going to take you twice as long. And that's one of the reasons why everyone goes to the monorail, because it's an efficient thing. I mean, the monorail can move probably about 3,000 to 4,000 people an hour, whereas the ferry boat is probably doing just slightly under that.
Oh, the monorail does more than that when they're pushing.
Well, yeah, when they're pushing. I'm saying on average.
I have done the calculations before. The maximum count I've seen the monorail do, 9,000 an hour.
Is that just the express line that you're saying here, or
yep,
it includes the...
That's just the express, 9,000 an hour. So, but if you just think about the numbers real quick, it's like, okay, 100,000 people in the park. If everyone just took the express monorail, it would take 10 hours to clear.
Yeah.
Like...
So you're telling me that
But if the ferry does...
If the express monorail was the only way after the fireworks, yeah, that monorail's not getting...
But if...
The park isn't clear until 7
But if you have the resort monorail adding to that, and then you have the ferries hitting 5,000 people an hour,
but you also
it only takes a few hours to clear the park then.
But you also don't want to encourage people to take the resort monorail, because then that destroys the park for people staying at the Contemporary, Polynesian, or Grand Floridian.
So I think the trick is... whatever updates they do to the monorail, the focus is going to be on load and unload times.
For the express specifically, I believe.
Even the resort.
I think...
Because getting the load and unload times down to nothing might allow them to run another train.
Who knows?
So...
Who knows? I think just their number one priority should be the express monorail.
Of course.
The resort monorail should be secondary priority, because honestly, I mean, the resort monorail has...
Have you ever seen their line and how slow it moves for the resort monorail, though? It's awful.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, they can also have 5 monorails on there, because they can have one in each station. And as soon as they're ready to go, they just all move to the next station.
I wonder if also... And I think... I truly think, because a lot of people are saying, well, they should have gotten new monorail trains 10 years ago.
More like 20.
But I think the reason they haven't is because they don't want to invest in new trains when they're still going to have this accessibility problem with the raised entry, with the step up.
Right.
Why would you invest in new trains when you're still going to have that problem?
Right.
So I think what would help them is if they went up to because they own 12 trains right now. I think if they own 14 and they were able to run more, that would help them.
Well, they own 12 with 2 of those on the Epcot line, right?
Right, so that's only 10 possible
Right.
you would have. But you might need more for Epcot once in a while. Right? So
I mean, during marathon times,
they
Epcot
stack
will
it. They
run
put
3 or 4 on that line
they'll put
because
5
of how many people are going over there for the spectators for the marathon.
But like, I think one of the things that would help them is maybe to buy 2 more trains. But also, they can't just buy 2 more trains.
Yeah, they can't because the company's out of business.
But they need to replace the fleet. But they're not going to replace the fleet if they're still going to have this accessibility problem.
I think you are right. It's the accessibility option needs to be prioritized.
I think it's because of all of that in 10 years we're going to see a replacement of the monorail.
If we can figure out how to build one, because again,
no,
WDI didn't build that. That was Bombardier.
I don't think it's going to be a monorail. I think it's going to be an automated people mover, taking the same route right next to the monorail, and then I think the monorail is going to close after they get done building it.
Hopefully,
that's what I think is going to happen.
Hopefully Disney, if you're listening, maybe make this announcement at D23. Put some people's mind at ease, because again, if Villains and Cars are going to be opening at the end of the decade, and not to mention whatever else could be coming to Magic Kingdom next decade too, I don't think this is it. I still think that there's room for plenty of expansion in that park. Disney, you have to be ready. And there's a part of me that thinks they are starting to think about this. Those industrial engineers in Disney are starting to think about it.
Might be a little late.
But I'm worried, too, that they may not be. And you're going to see the biggest wake-up call that they're going to need when Villains opens, and you see this increased traffic going into that park.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Anyway, everyone, thank you all for joining, as always, for another episode. I don't know what we're going to talk about next time.
We will figure it out like we always do.
As we go along.
We can talk about the buses at some point too, because that's a whole interesting rabbit hole.
That's another. I feel like we're going to have a good transportation discussion over the next few episodes.
Yeah, I have a whole thoughts on the bus system lined up.
Yeah, and then next time we'll hopefully know if I got my D23 tickets or not.
Maybe.
We'll see. Guys, thank you all again for tuning in. We will be back with you again next time for another episode of Cue the Mets.
Bye, everybody.